What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one Monday night post game show. But we got a lot to go over. I'm going to do my weekly state of the Dolphins address, which I'm kind of going to tie in with the whole Roberts Tua thing. And we're going to go over the snap counts. We're going to go over some PFF stats. We'll look at some next gen stats. And yeah, we got a little bit of a show ahead of us. So, and if there's enough time, I may open it up. We'll see how much time I have and where we're sitting at. So, um, I hope everyone is having a great victory Monday. I know for some people, I mean, the fact that we had 4 takeaways and only won by 8 points isn't much of a victory for a lot of people against a very bad team against the Houston Texans. But going to take some positives away. But there are still a lot of, there's a lot of negatives right now with the Dolphins. And it's not just the quarterback position, guys. Like, got to get out of that mind state that everything and anything with the Dolphins revolves around just strictly the quarterback position. Because, it's kind of a disaster right now. They snuck by yesterday, by the skin of their teeth. But I want to start off. Let's start off my weekly State of the Dolphins address. So the the whole viral thing going on right now on Dolphins Twitter is that's a good saying, K-Jax. That win was empty calories. I like that. There's a whole thing going on right now about it was in the fourth quarter, and it cut to let me find the exact time because you guys can go back and watch the broadcast and you can see the clip I'm going to play for yourself instead of, I'm going to play it, but you'll be able to. But if I give you guys the exact time of the quarter, so there's 3:17 left in the fourth. The Dolphins were up 17-9. They had the football. It was 2nd and 6, and Elandon Roberts walked up to Tagovailoa, who was along the sideline, and he said something in his ear. Now, I've watched this clip over and over. I had my wife watch it. It looks like I can't make out all of it, but I can make out parts of it. Shout out to Fred. For the $1.99 super sticker. Appreciate you, homie. So I'm gonna play the video for you guys to see. But it clearly looks like Robert says a few things. One of them looks like it's like no matter what they say, and you see him say it's coaching, and then it looks like he ends it with they don't appreciate you. So if you put it together, it looks like he's giving it to a pep talk. Like, this is all on the coaching. They don't appreciate you. That's what it looks like. Is this a science? No. Am I an expert lip reader? No. I'm just telling you what it looks like. Now, all that said, no shit, Sherlock. Like, we all knew this was an issue, and I'm trying to tell people this isn't just a quarterback issue with this coaching. Hunt, he was better suited to move to guard. Why is Hunt making mistakes he never made a tackle? Why is Kinley on the bench? Why does Jackson look like he doesn't belong on the field? And I'm not going to talk about 2021 guys, so I'll leave Eichenberg out, okay? Why does AVG look like he's regressed? Why is it when Noah's active, he can't even make the field? Why is it only Tua and Christian Wilkins? Yes, they have holes in their game, i.e. Christian Wilkins hasn't developed into the pass rusher we wanted to. Tua still needs to develop from the neck up to come anywhere close to the ceiling we thought he would have coming out of college. He needs development. He needs growth because when you don't have the physical traits that Justin Herbert has, you're relying more on good coaching and development. But anyways, he still has those traits. But yet they got those flaws, but they're the only two producing. And Gaskin produces most of the time when you give him the ball. They gave him the ball 20 times yesterday. He didn't produce very much. But the offensive line wasn't winning in the trenches. So you see where I'm going here? Like, not a lot of guys out of the 2019 and 2020 draft class are producing. Really only two in Christian Wilkins and Gaskin. I don't count Needham because he's a UDFA. So It's deeper than a quarterback thing. It's a coaching thing across the board on both sides of the football. Look at Raekwon Davis. Raekwon Davis doesn't look even what he looked like last year. Someone explain to me that. Shout out to D Hugger, $5 said, do you think they move on from Greer and Flores reason? I hope they do. Okay, this is I'm gonna tell everyone. I've said this before publicly. I'm gonna tell you this is what this was. This is my take on everything. I think we're rotten at the core. I think our front office needs to be torn down. I've said this before. It needs to be torn down. We need a new leader. We need a new vision. We need new culture. We need new drafting philosophies. We need new fundamental belief system right across the board. We need a new culture, okay, in that front office. When you get that front office in line, whatever GM is in place, if he's the right guy, if Flores and Tua's careers as Dolphins are in his hands for him to decide, I'm fine with that. As long as we get it right, because I'm ready to win. Now, I've said this. Flores and Tua could both be dead man walking. Tua could be dead man walking. Just Flores could be dead man walking with a new GM. I get that. I'm fine with it. If you're going to tell me you're going to bring in an Ozzie Newsome, or you're going to go and you're going to bring in a guy like Ed Dodds, or you're going to bring in some respectable executive that's going to bring a new culture from a winning culture, I don't care. I understand Tua might get an extra year just because the draft class is so weak and a new front office might not want to spend the draft capital on Watson. They might want to make their selection so they can put their thumbprint on the team, and then they'll reevaluate Tua after next year. That's fine with me. If they want to move off from Tua right away, I don't agree with it, but that's fine with me. I want it to be right. This is where I'm at. I need this to be right, and it starts in the front office. Anyways, so, I feel kind of like I was way ahead of the curve on things. I warned everyone. I started I was screaming offensive line, offense, and when we get into the PFF grades today, guys, I just want to tell you this. Here's a little preview before we get into the PFF grades. Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, and Jesse Davis are in a three-way tie for the most pressures allowed in the NFL right now with 37 each. I don't want to hear O-line is an excuse anymore. Tell me how the hell that happens. See, all these things are going on that are screaming coaching, 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 coaching. And I've been saying this since the offseason. I've been saying this consistently since the offseason. When everyone just wanted to narrow-sightedly look at one position, the quarterback position, and just heap blame and just focus there, I brought the context. Why is Tua not the product we saw come out of Alabama? Why? There's reasons why. His hip might not be fully. If a torn ACL takes about a year and a half, you can return about 9 to 10 months after now with surgeries and stuff. But it takes about a year and a half, 2 years after a torn ACL for you to start being normal again. What do you think a hip's going to take? Now, this is all risk the Dolphins incurred. They knew, they had their hands on, they did their research. My evaluation of Tua came off his film. All right? They were going to know better than I was whether the hip was good to go. Anyways, obviously they were okay with the hip because they made the pick. So, anyways, you look at this, coaching was always going to play a factor in this. It does with every prospect unless you're a freak. Right? Look at the Washington defense right now. Why does the Washington football team's defense look like it's regressed? Again, that comes down to coaching, man. Coaching matters. Dude, Herbert's got some of the great has got great coaching in 2 years, but even before yesterday, he bounced back. But before yesterday, he was on a 3-game slump, and over those 3 games, he was the worst analytically and statistically quarterback in the NFL. And that was a guy with all the physical tools and traits. Anyways, my point with this is, I'm gonna play the video. Let's talk about Elandon, because people got to keep this in mind too. Elandon Roberts is a Flores guy. This should be worrisome for people if he's a Flores guy. And my whole point with that rant about coaching was, if some guy like me, some jabroni on YouTube was seeing coaching was going to be an issue, the offensive line, yes, I already was pointing that out, but I had questions about the coaching and everything going in, not just Flores, with guys on the staff, and now you've seen it play out. If I'm seeing it, what do you think the guys in the rooms are seeing? Whether they're in the quarterback room, the linebacker room, the corner room, what do you think they're seeing? Fred said, very bad coaching, very bad play calling, terrible player development. It's exactly it. The play calling's not that great either. Someone want to come away from yesterday and say the play calling and the offense was good? Give me a break. Let me ask y'all this. Do you think the way they treated Tua, do you think I think Tua's a professional. Tua wanted to play yesterday. Fox Sports reported Tua wanted to play. They shut him down. Remember, he tried to come back to the Bills game when he got knocked out. They shut him down. I've told people privately, I knew a week before Tua came back why he was good to go. I've told them exactly why he was good to go, because I knew what Tua was doing. Tua was good to go for that Bucs game. He could have played that Bucs game. They held him out. Well, because he was on the IR, right? Look at last year, the Jets game. People forget that second Jets game when he hurt his throwing hand. They sat him for that weekend, and Fitz got the start. Remember where we blew him out in the first half, and then the second half we went like straight quiet and didn't do very much in the second half? Now, I will say again, Tua, he needs to be given a chance to play through this stuff. If he wants to play through it, let him play through it. Now, I know they're concerned about his arm, but come on, man. That comes down to coaching too. Listen, go back to the film breakdown, guys. Go back to the All-22, because I know some of you don't have access to it. Go back to the All-22 film breakdown, all right? Go back to the Bills one, the second Bills game. Go watch Tua and his interception. The Jalen Waddle interception, where he threw that ball to Jalen Waddle over the middle. Go watch that. We pointed it out. I'm telling you, when you started him last year, when he wasn't ready, bad habits started formulating. One of them, I've talked about it. Remember last year, he's consistently bailing. I mean, now he's a little bit more patient this year, so he's been on that. But you could see that. Okay, and you go watch that Waddle interception, all right? He sees the rushers coming. He knows he's going to take the hit. He does not step through and drive through the football from the lower half base all the way up, that kinetic energy chain. He does not get it going from his toes. He just muscles that ball from the waist up. He's just using his upper body strength. And because he doesn't have a cannon, you cannot be doing that. You need to use your whole body. Anyways, he knows the pressure's coming, so he uses his upper body. He makes the throw, and then he cowers away from the hit because he doesn't want the ribs to take it. What's happened is those are bad habits from last year. Last year, he was overcompensating for his compromised base. That's why if you watch the tape last year, you can validate what Nick Hicks was saying when he was talking about how much he was throwing with his upper body. Me and EM were talking about it before the season was over. Me and Ballgame had highlighted it. You can see it last year. He's throwing with his upper body. Well, the same thing's happening again now. because people got to realize, and I've had tons of conversations with EM, and I've given him way more in depth conversations about like when I played ball, but also like how my mind works with scouting and evaluation and stuff, right? But one of the things that with quarterbacks, I don't think I've ever said this, but one of the things with quarterbacks, especially, why bad habits are a big red flag with guys coming out is like, so for example, what I didn't like with Herbert coming out is you were constantly in shotgun, but you were getting caught flat footed. You would snap the ball, you do this little thing where he flipped the ball. You would see he wouldn't set his base up properly and he wouldn't align his mechanics, specifically his front foot with his receiver, and he would throw, and throws would sail on him, right? So I was seeing like bad mechanical issues, right? And what you want to do with red flags like that is they either need to be coached out of the game or they need to be considered a red flag, because when quarterbacks are pressured, you are going to revert to bad habits. So why Tua reverted when that pressure was coming was he was like last year with the compensated hip. He was protecting his ribs because they were still bugging him to an extent, right? And that compensated his base, so he used his upper body and he cowered away from the throw because that's what he would do last year when the pressure came. So that's a bad habit that he never had at Alabama. Never had that at Alabama. Shout out to G Firm 456 499. Defensive coaches have a history of misappropriated quarterback talented. I agree. 100 and defensive head coaches. I agree 110%, brother. 110%. I agree with you 110%. So, I mean, that's you see, you know, that's what's wrong right now with the situation. This situation is deep. And it goes beyond Tua, but let's get into the Elandon Roberts clip. Enough of my ranting, because I'm going to rant after the clip. See, here's my thing. I know people are trying to knock Tua on his arm, but if you actually watch the tape coming out of Bama and coming out of LSU, Tua had clearly a stronger arm than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's arm on tape at times looked like it was better suited for a dome. That's why I used to call him Dome Arm. Like, I really can't wait to, because last year he was hurt, right? I can't wait to see him in those November, December, January months in Cincinnati and in that cold weather division to see what he does, because Burrow's got small hands. He's got smaller hands than Tua, and he's actually got, when you talk about like arm strength, like distance and velocity, he was actually more, if you actually look at Burrow in college outside the numbers compared to Tua making throws outside the numbers in college, it wasn't even close. Tua was far better. So, I mean, it's just continued coaching, because people don't realize as you polish your mechanics, as you mechanics get better and crisper and damn near flawless, i.e. Tom Brady with Tom House and Drew Brees with Tom House, you can add more zip and velocity. Like, if Brees did not have perfect mechanics, his arm velocity and his arm strength would be far worse than what it is, and that's a scary thought. Mechanics are the only reason why Brees, with basically a shot arm, could play to the age he played at. That's why Phillip Rivers couldn't play later, because his mechanics weren't perfect. Anyways, let's get into this. Mechanics are a big thing. That's why, look at Michael Vick, right? When Mike Vick went to the Eagles, he had to become, Andy Reid had to make him more of a mechanical quarterback, had to work on his mechanics, had to make him more of a pocket quarterback, right? Had to work on his mechanics, get him better from the pocket. It's because your legs and your athleticism, you're only going to have it for so long. Your arm, even if you have a cannon, will start dying on you in your late 30s. But if you have flawless mechanics, you can prolong everything, right, into your early 40s. So, anyways, let's get into what Elandon Roberts had to say, because I find it interesting. So, I'm going to tell y'all what I think he's saying. I'm going to full screen it for y'all. Haven't checked what the quality is going to be like, so bear with me for a sec. But let's look at this right now.
Juggling players, quarterbacks.
So it looks like
and our view from the booth.
Coaching. They don't appreciate you. Like, if you actually look at it, he says clearly it's coaching. It's coaching.
His first year, juggling players, quarterbacks.
It's coaching.
And our
coaching. One more time.
View from the booth.
They don't appreciate
first year, juggling players, quarterbacks. And our view from the booth.
They don't appreciate you. Like, I am not an expert.
His first year,
by any stretch of
juggling players.
I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But it looks like he says it's coaching. It's coaching. And remember, the Miami Dolphins offense is on the field right now. The Miami Dolphins offense, there's only 3 minutes left in the game. We're up by 8 right now when this conversation is happening. It literally looks like at the end, like he says, they don't appreciate you. Coaching. They don't appreciate you at the end. So, I don't know, man. Even X can look at X. X sitting on the bench watching this conversation go down. I don't know, man. This is not a science. I am not an expert. I'm just telling you, it looks like he says it's coaching. It's coaching. And then at the end, it looks like his final words is, they don't appreciate you. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me, man. And you see X just sitting there, and X is clearly might probably hearing this shit. X is like watching them. I don't know. Again, I'm talking about this because this is the big thing in the Dolphins community right now that people are talking about on social media. I'll play it one more time. You guys, I'll play it one more time. I'll let y'all. I see ball games in the comments. I actually wanted to call him to get his opinion on this earlier today, and I just was so busy, man. But I'm going to talk to you, ball game. I want to get your opinion on this for sure. But I'll mute it for you guys, and you can. It's coaching. It's coaching. Said it again. They don't appreciate you. At the end, I'm telling you that's what he said. Like, I'm telling you that's what he said. I'm telling you. It's coaching. It's coaching. They don't appreciate you. Oh, I'm telling you that's what he said. Oh, my God. And again, unless Roberts comes out and tells us, we will never, ever know what he says. We can only, this is pure speculation, nothing more. It looks like he's saying that. And I mean, like I said earlier, if this jabroni that's on your screen right now, me, all the way up here in Canada, can see the flaws with this team and how a lot of it starts with coaching, what do you think the players in the rooms are thinking right now? And here's the other thing that should worry. If that is indeed what Elandon Roberts said, he is a Brian Flores guy. That is not good. But again, that's just speculation. I'm telling you what I see. Everyone's going to have a different interpretation of that. The ones that are clear is when he says it's coaching, it's coaching. When he says that, that's clear as day. Because he paused after both times after he said it. It looks like he says they don't appreciate you at the end. But that's all. But he says it so quick. He says it quick. Like, they don't appreciate you. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I read it. Like, are there any lip readers in the house? Are there any deaf people that know how to read lips? I don't know. Let me make sure the closed captioning is on right now because I could use your help. So, I mean, let's be honest. The defense is sitting there looking, and they're looking at this and like, man, thank God we only allowed the Houston Texans to score 9 points because this team only put up 17 points against the Houston Texans. Like, can you believe if the Houston Texans would have put up 20 points, we would have lost that game? Can you believe that? Shout out to Max Juice. Send him love. He's in Buffalo, New York, the armpit of the world, but he's a Miami Dolphins fan, so he's one of us. Show him some love. Show him some love. I can only imagine what he's putting up with. So, this shouldn't even be a surprise. We all knew it was coaching. Even ball game, maybe it's coaching, but we appreciate you. I'm just saying. Elandon Roberts is clearly identifying coaching. In what way, shape, or form, you know as well as I do. And I agree with you, Juice. He says you can tell Roberts is trying to be optimistic towards Tua about the situation. Cool. See, I said to EM today, I said people try to like paint me as a Tua near, but I'm going to tell you right now, I watch Twitter and I watch YouTube, and people overly defend Tua, or people overly hate Tua. People overly hate on Watson, or people overly defend Tua. Like, I'm watching all these wars happening, people hating each other over Watson, people attacking each other over Tua, and I'm just sitting back and I'm watching these this all happen, and I'm just like, that's why my Twitter engagement has gone down. It's because of how toxic some of this fan base is. I mean, it's just this whole situation has just been, and the Dolphins, I don't want to hear the Patriot way. You know what? Because if Belichick and them were pursuing a guy like Watson, but had Mac Jones in the building, they wouldn't have let it got to this extent. It's just created such a divide in the fan base, and like, it's just, I'm over it, man. Like, oh, we need a new front office just because a new PR department comes with that too. Like, good God Almighty, it's just been such a disaster this season. So many distractions that even when we beat a bottom feeding team like the Houston Texans, it is ugly. Like, talk about not being able to have nice things. We can't even have nice wins. Like, there's no way you can tell me Tua would not have blown those guys out, even with a swollen finger. Come on. Like, that was just such a pitiful display by our offense. Thank God our defense did not play down to the Texans level yesterday, because the offense sure as hell did. Like, it was just disgusting. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. And you look at this team, like, running the football yesterday. How did Ackman and Gaskin not eat? How did you allow yourself to get that beat in the trenches by the Houston Texans defense? Like, Houston was allowing 4.8 yards per attempt against coming in. The Miami Dolphins averaged 1.9 yards per carry and produced just 47 yards rushing against a team allowing 4.8 yards per attempt. That is ridiculous right now. Like, and guys, one of our OCs, one of our half dozen OCs is supposed to be a run game specialist in Eric Studesville. Someone explain to me what's going on right now. These guys want to run an RPO and a quick hitting offense, and they can't even run the football. And then you go watch Najee Harris tonight. Najee Harris kicks things off with a touchdown to start the game. Like I keep telling y'all, it don't matter if you got Tua. It don't matter if you got Watson. If you're not going to run the football, if you're going to have the second highest paid receiving corps all sit on IR, and you're going to have this Swiss cheese offensive line where there's nothing but holes. Bro, you're either going to get the number 5 overall pick in Tua hurt, or you're going to get a guy you trade 3 firsts and 2 seconds for. You're going to get hit hurt. And the only reason they want him is because they can't grow and develop the quarterback or the offensive lineman themselves, so they want him to make up for all these deficiencies. How fair is that to ask of anyone, let alone Deshaun Watson? That's not fair. That's not fair to ask for Tua. That's not fair to ask of any quarterback in the NFL. Doesn't matter if they have allegations against them or not, how you personally feel about them. It doesn't matter. That's not fair to ask of anyone. That's basically saying, I want to get out of jail free card because we're inept and we can't do our job on the coaching side of things. And then Watson is only 25. He still has a ceiling left to attain. You're going to trust these guys for Watson to reach his ceiling under them? Are you crazy right now? Like, is this real life? Come on, man. Y'all say we're making excuses for Tua. When are y'all going to stop making excuses for the coaching staff? Don't give me this, he earned it with a 10-win season. I don't give a shit what about a 10-win season. Did we even go to the playoffs? Second place is the first loser. What the hell is a team that doesn't make the playoffs? Stop accepting mediocrity. Because the thing you can have is, what if it's another one of those Gase situations or someone else where you wait 1 year too long? That's another year off of all of our lives that are over 30 years old that we got to wait for this team to be relevant again. Come on, man. Guys are just people have just accepted mediocrity, man. Because right now, as this team's assembled, if you go get Watson, you're nothing more than, well, I don't know, but you're going to be nothing more than a perennial first rounder or second round, maybe second round exit. This is not a Super Bowl franchise with Deshaun Watson. This is not a Super Bowl franchise with Tom Brady. This is not a Super Bowl franchise with Aaron Rodgers. You see? It's not just Watson. It's any one of those guys. 2020 was the year where you needed your Watson or where you needed your Rodgers or you needed your Russell Wilson. That was the year because we were the number 1 red zone defense. We were number 1 third down defense. We were the number 1 scoring defense. We were number 1 in all these categories that I kept warning all y'all we're going to naturally regress in. The turnover streak couldn't last forever. Lo and behold, it got snapped this year. Natural regression was just a part of it. But instead of falling from the top 5 into the bottom 5, you want to fall into the top 10, top 12 still. We just have plummeted defensively, though. Now we are the worst third down team. We are one of the worst scoring defenses, and we're not very good in the red zone. Don't know. You caught lightning in the bottle last year. Should have just ran it with Fitz and seen what it gave you. Or you make your trade for Watson back last year before the draft. But I don't know what to tell you. Oz says, how do you draft an old lineman and make him worse than he was in college? It's true. I hated Austin Jackson coming out of college. He's worse. You want to know a scary thing? Check this one out. Liam Eichenberg did not give up a sack in 2 years while he was at Notre Dame. His last 2 years at Notre Dame, that man did not give up one sack. And now in 395 pass blocking reps, This year, he's given up 7 sacks. If that doesn't tell you they don't know what they're doing, I don't know what. But stop making excuses for the coaches. Y'all want to talk? I see people out here who A, don't know the quarterback position, B, bunch of flip-floppers, C, I wouldn't trust them to evaluate my latest dump, let alone a player coming out of college, out here trying to call to a bust. No, the busts are Noah Igbenogany as it stands right now, Austin Jackson as it stands right now. Those are your busts from the 2020 draft. Curtis Weaver, who I was high on and I was clearly wrong about, he's busted out of the league. Those are your busts. I still think there's hope for Robert Hunt. I think the coaching is bad and everyone's bad around him, and that's Robert Hunt's problem. I still have faith in Robert Hunt. I want y'all to realize something. And then I want to tell you the truth. This is the truth. And I want everyone, all 275 of you, after you're done smashing that like button, I want y'all to listen to me real closely. When I started on TD Fins Talk in 2019, in October, there were 3 guys I wanted in that draft. Tua Tagovailoa, Tristan Wirfs, Jonathan Taylor. They had the capital to make all 3 of those moves happen. 5, draft Tua. All they wanted to move up was they wanted the 18th, a 3rd, and a 5th, and we balked at that to move up for Wirfs. That's what I've been told. That's what I understand. So we had the capital to go get Wirfs, and we could have taken Jonathan Taylor instead of Noah Igbenogany. If you make those 3 selections in the 2020 NFL draft, you have changed the course of this franchise. Whether Tua works out or not, you've changed the course of this franchise. You've gotten your 1,000-yard running back, and you've got your stud offensive lineman that you can build that offensive line around. And I kept telling y'all, spend the money on Corey Linsley. Don't mess around with Dieter. He's never taken live snaps. Don't bring back Ted Karras. Get your quarterback for your offensive line. If you throw in that one UDFA move with Wirfs as well, with Tua and Jonathan Taylor, you have changed the course of this franchise, and this offense is not as bad as what it is this year. I truly believe that. I truly believe that, man. You could have changed the course. Those 3 picks, you would have changed the course. And then you could have figured out that left tackle situation. Because Jesse Davis was actually good at left tackle last year in 2020. If you go look at his snaps at left tackle last year, he was actually good last year. Crazy thing is our offensive line was actually better last year, and I'll get into that when we get in the PFF grades. But our offensive line statistically and analytically was better last year than it is this year. But anyways, you could have Jesse Davis at left tackle. I'm telling you, you would have had this whole thing solved, man. And you still could have taken Robert Hunt. I'm still saying take Robert Hunt. Take Robert Hunt at 39. Robert Hunt at guard, Wirfs at right tackle. And Corey Linsley at center. That's your center from your right side of your line out. Then you would have had Kinley, and because I think Kinley is giving you, I think Kinley's been better at left guard than what Jackson's shown you. Kinley was just struggling at left guard this year because Austin Jackson was struggling. Look at him last year. Last year, Kinley was elevating the play of Jesse Davis around him and Austin Jackson around him. What do you think? You all of a sudden forgot how to play football? No. Austin Jackson just was regressing so badly. If you gave me the Kinley of last year Jesse Davis of last year at left tackle, Corey Linsley, Robert Hunt at right guard, and Wirfs at right tackle, and then Jonathan Taylor running the football behind them, and Tua Tagovailoa, we would be in so much better shape right now. Now, we'd still need to obviously make some changes still, but we'd be in far better shape than we are right now. Far better shape. Far better shape. But it is what it is. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. All right. Don't know what else to say. Really nothing else to say. All right, let's get into the snap counts. We got a whole bunch of stuff we want to go over here still. So let's get into the snap counts. So when we take a look at the offensive snap counts for the Dolphins, obviously Hollins with Parker on IR, his snap count went up 80% of the snaps. He played 60 of the 75 snaps. Reader with Mance leaving early, obviously assume that center role. Running back, though, you look at how running back worked out. Gaskin saw 72% of the snaps. Ahmed 19% of the snaps. Not really a double-headed monster. Laird only saw 9% of the snaps. Kirk Merritt only saw 11 snaps. So hopefully he gets a bigger role this week. I don't know if you guys saw, but Flores, he said that Kirk Merritt, he liked how he practiced this week. That's why he started him over Preston Williams. So hopefully that carries over into this week. Obviously, you see the tight ends got quite a workload. Gesicki had 79% of the snaps, Smythe 60%, Shaheen 48%. So they ran a lot of 12-man. They had a lot of 2 tight ends out there, even if Gesicki was split out in the slot or out wide, into 11-man, they had him out there. So the tight end usage was clearly evident by the Dolphins. Once again, we've noticed that though all season that the tight end room is clearly out there and they're getting their snaps. Now, when we take a look at how this team lined up snap count wise defensively, this is what comes up in front of us now. Baker comes back and plays 99% of the snaps off that injury, so clearly not very many limitations to his game. Javon Holland and Brandon Jones continue to gobble up a ton of the snaps, but remember, we love running that Ruby package. But anyways, you see 94 and 99%, those big boy snaps. Rowe down there only 41% of the snaps. He saw 28, but he actually you'll see he was our highest graded Dolphin defender on Sunday. So, you even look at Raekwon's usage. Raekwon down to only 45%. He saw only 31 of those 69 total snaps. Ogba, just an absolute monster, seeing a ton of snaps. The highest snap counted defensive end, clearly. But yeah, you see Butler getting a fair share of snaps too, playing more than half the game. So, and for as good as Wilkins has been, only getting 55% of the snaps. And then look at Jalen Phillips, guys. Jalen Phillips last week was coming off a career high snap count. He played a ton of snaps last week. Now they knocked him all the way back down to 54%. The guy needs those reps, man. He needs those reps. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the PFF grades for this past Sunday. And guys, even in a win, it's ugly. So when we look at offensively, these are how your offensive players graded out. Obviously, Gesicki, number 1 with a 79.8 offensive grade. You look at Jacoby Brissett, 77 offensive grade. Jalen Waddle, 74.4. Ethan Carter, don't really count because he only played 4 snaps, 71.6. Albert Wilson was actually your 5th highest graded offensive player. Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, they are the bottom feeders of the offense in terms of grades as usual. 43.5 and a 45. Salvin Ahmed, 46.8. Shaheen, 48. And Jesse Davis rounds out your bottom 5 with a 52.3. So ugly, ugly, ugly. But it gets uglier, people. When we get into the pass blocking, they allowed 26 pressures as an offensive unit. Eichenberg allowed 9 pressures. Jesse Davis allowed 6. Austin Jackson allowed 4. Greg Mance allowed 2 before he left. Reeder allowed 2 all game. Ahmed, Smythe, and Hunt allowed 1. So out of the 26 pressures allowed, guys, the sad part is 24 of those are from offensive linemen. It is just really ugly right now. Like Greg Mance had a 4.4 pass blocking grade. Eichenberg had a 30.1. Like it is just ugly, ladies and gentlemen, right now. And it gets even worse. As a team, the Miami Dolphins have 234 pressures allowed. The next closest team is the Carolina Panthers at 187. Ouch. Ouch. That is not good, people. That is not good whatsoever. And if you go by pass blocking grades, the Miami Dolphins, that's why they are 49th. If we go to team reports and then we go and we kick on pass blocking grades, there you see it right before your eyes. It is not good. It is not good by any stretch of the imagination, man. This is what we're on pace for. We're on we are on pace for a ton of pressures allowed. The most pressures allowed in the NFL right now. If you actually go back and you go, a couple things I want to say about the offensive line. So here you go. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So the most pressures PFF has ever seen an O-line give up were the Chargers in 2015, where they allowed 297 pressures. The Dolphins this year are on pace for 287 over a 17-game schedule, despite Tua hiding it with quick passing and RPO offense right now. Again, you go look at, I got the numbers wrong. I wanted to show you. You go look at it right now. The Dolphins, you go down, you go to team reports, and you go to pass blocking grades. The Dolphins have currently allowed 168 pressures. They've allowed 129 quarterback hurries, 15 sacks, and 24 quarterback hits. It's just a disaster, right? Just for context, the next worst pass blocking graded team are the New York Giants at 49.8. Well, the Giants, as a pass blocking unit, they have allowed 113 pressures right now. It is not good whatsoever. Like, this is bad news for the Miami Dolphins. We actually statistically have a worse offensive line than what we did in 2019 and 2020. And here's the thing, what people need to put into perspective right now. So if you were to use PFF to standardize passing depths to league average, the following quarterbacks would be the 5 quickest triggers in the NFL among those with 100 plus attempts. Ben Roethlisberger is number 1 at 2.2 seconds. Tom Brady's number 2 at 2.26 seconds. Tua Tagovailoa is number 3 in the NFL at 2.35 seconds. The following are now the five, and then Aaron Rodgers is 4th. Ryan Tannehill is 5th. The following are the 5th slowest triggers in the NFL among those with 100 plus attempts. Zach Wilson at 2.77 seconds. Jameis Winston at 2.72 seconds, and Jacoby Brissett at 2.69, then Hurts at 2.69, and then Lamar Jackson at 2.64. So what this is basically telling you is on plays where whether it's Brissett or Tua sacked and neither quarterback ends up scrambling, Tua gets the ball. Well, when neither one is sacked or when neither one moves out of the pocket, Tua's getting the football out about 0.3 seconds faster on average than Jacoby Brissett behind the same offensive line running the same offense. So it's bad right now. It is not good. I mean, guys, we are coming off a game where the Dolphins became the first team to commit at least 5 turnovers, take the ball away at least 4 times, and win the game. It hadn't happened since September 9th, 2012, when the Eagles beat the Browns. I mean, you look at right now, wide receiver drop percentage for the Dolphins is number 2 in the NFL at 6.8% of passes are being dropped. Only the 49ers are better at 7.6%. Fumble percentage, the Dolphins are number 1 in the NFL right now at 3.5%. So you look at the offensive line, you look at the whole offensive side of the football right now, it is a complete disaster. I don't know how else to describe it right now. And that's what I wanted to show you guys. When we go by position here, guys, just so you see that old reason is not yanking your chain, I want each and every one of you to pay attention to what I'm about to show you. So when I go by guards, centers, and tackles, every offensive lineman that's qualified in the league right now. When I go to pressures allowed, right there for you. Right there in black and white. Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, Jesse Davis. 37 pressures allowed each. Right at the top. 3-way tie. 3-way tie. Go look at it right there. A 3-way tie. That is absolutely brutal. That is so inexcusable. It's unreal. That is absolutely disgusting to look at. I'm sorry. It's just brutal. Like, those are 3 starters. 3 of your starters are the 3 worst pressure. Like, are we for real right now? These aren't excuses. This is starting to turn into context, ladies and gentlemen. And Jesse Davis is the most experienced guy on that offensive line. And look at the company he's keeping right now. No wonder these guys are trending the wrong way. Good God Almighty. Anyways, unbelievable. Let's look at some positives right now for you guys. So some positives for you guys. Oh, let's go to the right week. We're currently on week 1 here. When we take away, it's all on the defensive side of the football. The offense, nothing to be positive about. Defensive grades are this easy, okay? Eric Rowe, 28 snaps, had a 90 overall defensive grade. Javon Holland was number 2 with an 83.8. Zach Seiler, 83.6, was number 3. Adam Butler was number 4. Coleman was number 5. And then our worst was Xavier Howard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Raekwon Davis, Nick Needham, Sam McGuavin. Don't like seeing 2 linebackers on there, but Xavier Howard didn't have a great day by PFF standards. And Raekwon had what he had. So let's dive into this for a second, okay? So when we look at the pressures, offensively, We generated 34 pressures. This is the most the defense has generated all year, and Ogba led the way with 7. Baker had 5. Phillips had 4. Wilkins had 4. Van Ginkel had 4. Holland had 2. Raekwon had 2. Zach Seiler had 1, as did Needham, Brandon Jones, Adam Butler, Roberts, and Xavier Howard. Now, good news here. Let's get into the good news for you guys. All right. When we go by position after Sunday's performance and we go down to the defense, this is what we get, ladies and gentlemen. We get okay, so interior wise, Zach Seiler and Wilkins each had 1 run stop on Sunday. Christian Wilkins is number 1 in the league right now with 21. Zach Seiler is tied for 3 at 18. So we have 2 of the 3 best run stoppers interior wise in the NFL right now. All right. So now when we look at how the pass rush is doing, Ogba, if you see here, is now he's actually, because they drop him down. If you actually do it, he's actually tied for 7th most pressures in the NFL. He has 35. Loving on that. He has the 3rd most quarterback hits. He's tied for the 3rd most quarterback hits in the NFL. Love seeing that, man. That is good stuff from Emmanuel Ogba. Now, when we look at the 2021 draft class, go check out my Jalen Phillips film study if you haven't yet. But right now, Jalen Phillips is number 3, tied for number 2, sorry. He's tied with my other top edge player, Azeez Ojulari, in pressures. They both have 21, only 3 behind Owe out of Baltimore. You look at quarterback hits, Jalen Phillips is tied for 2nd with another guy you remember I all liked, Joe Tryon, number 4, again behind Owe. You look at hurries, Phillips is right now only behind Kwity Paye and Owe in hurries. Ojulari right behind them. So you look at Jalen Phillips, he's quietly having a very respectable and a very good rookie season. Shout out to Jalen Phillips, man. Getting it done. Love it. Love, love, love it. Now, when we go back here and we look at pass rush and we actually look at safeties right now, I'm going to show you something. Take safeties off. If we look at pressures, look at that, guys. Brandon Jones among safeties is number 1 in pressures. Javon Holland is number 2 in the NFL right now amongst pressures. So they are going and they're getting it done pressure-wise. You've seen it. I mean, I show examples of them pressuring in the Jalen Phillips film study. So go check that out. I'm going to have a Javon Holland film study coming up too. And I'm also going to do a Jalen Waddle one. So, I mean, you check it out. These 2 safeties, they are the future, and they are 2 of the best rushing safeties in the NFL right now, pressure safeties in the NFL. So absolutely love to see it. Javon Holland, Javon Holland, Jalen Phillips, and Jalen Waddle, as much as people hate on Greer, those look like hits. Those look like hits. Now, the rest of it, Hunter Long can't get on the field, and Eichenberg's a disaster. All right, so when you look at the coverage versus receiving, this is how it went for the Dolphins on Sunday. Eric Rowe, 7 receptions on 9 targets allowed, 54 yards, 3 first downs. You go look at Jerome Baker, 4 of 5 when targeted for 52 yards and 2 first downs. And Both allowed some yak. Jason McCourty, he was only targeted 4 times. He allowed 3 receptions for 33 yards and a first down. Byron Jones allowed 3 receptions on 4 targets for 27 yards and 1 first down. He also had a pass breakup. Xavier Howard allowed every target to be completed for 20 yards. He was actually, I don't know how he didn't have a better coverage grade, but okay. He only allowed 6 yards after the catch. And he had 2 first downs against him though. What am I talking about? Why did it revert back to week 1? Excuse me. Pardon me. Erase all of what you heard. I was like, what is Nelson Aguilar? Anyways, here's the real deal. Brandon Cooks and Danny Amendola, they had 7 targets for 4 receptions for 61 yards, 42 yards after the catch. So only 19 came at it, but a lot after the catch against Needham. Jerome Baker targeted 7 times, allowed 4 receptions for 28 yards, a first down. He also had that interception, and he had a drop against him. Rex Burkhead dropped the football. Byron Jones, I was targeted 7 times. He allowed 3 receptions for 31 yards. 9 of those yards came after the catch. He allowed 3 first downs again. Chris Connolly had a drop against him, but he also had a pass breakup on Danny Amendola. Xavier Howard, he was targeted 5 times. He allowed 3 receptions for 1 first down, 28 yards. Eric Rowe, he allowed 4 receptions on 4 targets for 23 yards and 1 first down. You go ahead, you look at Andrew Van Ginkel here, targeted 3 times, 3 receptions, 31 yards. 27 of those 31 were after the catch, 1 first down. Brandon Jones, 59.6 offensive grade when targeted. He had 2 targets against, allowed 1 reception for 15 yards, which was obviously a first down. Justin Coleman did not allow a reception. Elandon Roberts allowed 1 reception for 8 yards. Brendan Scarlett, he allowed 1 reception for 15 yards. So when you look it over, Brandon Cooks, that's how he lined up against us. He had only 6 receptions on 12 targets for 56 yards, so they shut him down. They didn't really have anyone blow us away when you look at it. Brandon Cooks clearly had the best day for them. Connolly looked like he was going to give us a little bit of an issue at times, but they reined him in. So coverage-wise, we weren't that bad. Obviously, we had the 3 interceptions too, so nothing overly terrible to report coverage-wise. And then, we did it for Tua. Let's do the same thing for Jacoby Brissett. When you look at Jacoby under pressure, so Jacoby, when he was kept clean, he was 17 of 21 for 169 yards. But when he was under pressure, he was 9 of 22 for 75 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And those he was not being blitzed because they were consistently sounding like a 4-man rush. Now against the blitz, he was 8 of 17 for zeros across the board and 84 yards. So when you put it together, that's what you get. Now he had 5 drops charged against the offense, the receivers, right? So it is what it is. And obviously he had 26 pressures against and the 3 takeaways. So that's what you look at when you see Jacoby and how he was. Now, when we go into the passing charts for this game, let's start. Obviously, we'll start with Jacoby this time around because we just came off him. So this is Jacoby's passing chart: 26 of 43, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. You see the picks: 1 was deep, 1 was short. He had a lot bad at the line of scrimmage. A lot of stuff from within 10 yards. We'll get into that once we get into the stats. But you see the ball again. not much different. Like, the offense does not change when Jacoby Brissett comes in. Like, people need to realize that it's not, this offense is built the way it's built, and Jacoby Brissett is a different quarterback than Tua with a different skill set, and even he's struggling in it, right? So, when you take a look at how Tyrod was against us, it's even uglier, thank God. This is what Tyrod Taylor looked against us on Sunday. You talk about keeping everything within 10 yards, real ugly, and everything beyond 10 yards was even uglier. One of my keys to victory was finally first turnovers, and they sure as hell must have listened, because they did that over and over again. So Tyrod really struggled. I've never seen him struggle against us that bad. And you look at a lot of short stuff, a lot of dink and dunk. And then, when you get into the next gen stats from the game as a whole, these are what we this is what we get. So the longest completed air distance was 28.6 yards by Jacoby, obviously down from the week before. The fastest ball carrier was Jalen Waddle at 20.05 miles per hour. The fastest sack was Jacob Martin at 3.1 seconds. Now, when you look at the passing charts here, I mean, what's there to say? From beyond 10 yards, Jacoby Brissett, he was better, inside 10 to 20, not necessarily deep, because deep, he was 0 for 3 with an interception. At the intermediate level, right, he was 7 of 12. You go look at Tyrod, 0 for 5 deep, 1 interception, and he was only 1 of 6 on the intermediate level for another interception. And then he was just a disaster. I don't know what else to say. Now, obviously, our run game struggled mightily yesterday. But you look, most success was caught running wide right, but they kept setting him up the middle. I mean, 16 of his attempts right there came up the middle, and he only got 17 yards on that. Yet he got 3 attempts for 12 yards and a touchdown going wide right. So even the in-game adjustments were crap. You look at Ahmed, again, they were sending him up the middle. That's where the most of his attempts came as well. So, I mean, you tell me. I mean, unreal. And then you look at receiving, the average yards of separation yesterday. Kirk Merritt for his first game, 2.64 yards. Albert Wilson, 3.76 yards. Jalen Watt, 2.78. Gesicki, 1.03. Matt Collins, 2.6. And the league average is 2.89. So only Albert Wilson got above the league average. And then you look at the other side, their tight end, Atkins had under 2 yards at 1.96. Brandon Cooks at 3.46. Amendola, 4.75. Connolly, 2.46. And Nico Collins, 5.32. You remember, Tyrod missed Amendola and Nico wide open a couple times for plays that could have been serious issues. And then the pass rush. The average separation from quarterback, Jalen Phillips, who's been first for a lot of weeks, including last week, dropped down to 3 for the Dolphins, as Ogba was the closest at 4.15 yards. Van Ginkel was number 2 at 4.28. Then Phillips came in at 4.71. You go look at the other side, 3.12 yards for Martin, 3.42 yards for Greenard, and Walker, 3.69 yards, and Collins, 3.96 yards. I mean, that shows you how much pocket pushback these guys were really getting. Now, every time the pocket pushback might not have turned into necessarily a pressure, but it was clearly evident that they were pushing our pocket back consistently, and the next gen stats provide that. So, I mean, this is a game where, everyone wants to call the Jags a bad defense, and Atlanta, even though Atlanta had the 12th best passing defense when we faced them. But Tua gained over 400 yards in each of those games. Guys, the Miami Dolphins were outgained by 10 yards by the Houston Texans, 272 to 262. We only put up 262 offensive yards and 17 points against this team. We're only 9 for 6 on third down. Our offensive line was a disaster. We only averaged 3.6 yards per play, half a yard less than what Houston averaged against us. And we can all agree our defense looked like they played better. So, yes, we came away with a win. And good, thank God we only had 2 penalties. We showed some discipline. We only outgained them in possession by a little over 3 minutes, 31 minutes and 44 seconds to 28-16. But even in a win, you are seeing serious issues with this team rear their ugly head. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how Lemuel Jean-Pierre has a job. I really don't. Like, the Texans are a very bad team, and we barely beat them. Like, we're on a short week, and our best chance is we catch these guys by surprise. And I'm going to tell you the reality of it. Tua is our only chance of actually even being in this game. I'm not even saying winning because I don't think we'll win either way. But our only chance of being in this game is Tua. Jacoby ain't going to keep us in this game. Like, if you think if we allowed that, and again, a consistent just a 3-4 man rush, and we're allowing 26 pressures, what do you think we're going to allow against the Baltimore Ravens? Like, I'm hoping Tua plays Thursday. I'm going to keep y'all updated because I'm going to be checking in with my people to figure that out. But this is how this week's schedule is going to work. Tomorrow, guys, we'll be back for the All-22 breakdown. Wednesday, we're going to do our preview show. Thursday, we're going to live react. And then either Friday or Saturday, I'm working on something very special for you guys. So be out on the lookout. It's going to be a very special live stream. I'll have further details this week. But that's going to be the streaming schedule for this week. We're going to be on the next 4 days straight because we're on a short week. If Tua doesn't play, we're going to get absolutely pounded. And I think Tua is going to push to play. And look at what CT says. In 4 games, Jacoby Brissett has 10 turnovers versus 4 touchdowns. And people tried to sell you that Jacoby Brissett might be the answer. Oh, man. I don't know, man. And the Texans are a team full of distractions, too. And we barely beat them. We barely beat them. Ugly. Ugly, ugly stuff. Ugly win, man. I get it. A win is a win, but not when you need a decisive win against a really bad team. And no, it would not have been the same if Tua was playing. Tua would have blown those cats out of the water. Okay. So, guys, I'll be back tomorrow night with Ball Game with Martin. We'll go ahead. We'll break down the All-22, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll break it all down for y'all. On Wednesday, we'll preview this game between the Ravens and the Dolphins. And then on Thursday, live reaction. And then on Friday, on either Friday or Saturday, keep in mind, I'm going to be coming back with a very special panel show for y'all. So keep your eyes open. I'll give more details as they come to me over the next few days. But we're going to have a little all-star panel, man, a little mid-season all-star panel for you guys on Friday or Saturday, all right? So I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming out. We'll talk about the All-22 tomorrow, and we'll get Ball Game's final thoughts because we missed them. So that was my bad, Ball Game. Love you, bro. So, guys, I will see you tomorrow night. Be on the lookout, probably around 9 o'clock, 9:30, might even be earlier. Appreciate each and every one of you. Love each and every one of you. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day, baby.